Leadership11.com.
Welcome to Leadership Role. I'm your host, Dr. Kitty, and today we will be continuing the Dark Angel Codex review, looking at HQs, special characters, generic characters, and command squads. So, top of the list, and alphabetically it seems, is Supreme Grand Master Azrael. He is the Dark Angel Chapter Master, so he's looking at weapon skill 6, ballistic skill 5, strength toughness 4, 4 wounds, 5 initiative, 4 attacks, leadership 10, and 2-up save due to his artificer armor. If he is in your army, he has to be your warlord. And that probably should say if he is in your primary detachment, as you may ally him, he would not be your warlord. He can also choose any of the Dark Angel Warlord traits. You don't even have to roll, you just get to choose, which is pretty cool. He is an independent character. He has the Inner Circle special rule. He also has Rites of Battle. If Azrael is on the battlefield, all models from Codex Dark Angels can use his leadership for morale, pinning, and leadership tests. So, pretty unlikely that you're going to fail too many of those, as he is leadership 10, and they do have the Grim Resolve, if not Inner Circle rule. His relics, he carries the Lion's Wrath, which is a combi weapon with the Mastercrafted special rule, and the plasma gun part of it, strength 7, AP 2, rapid fire. It also has blind, gets hot, and is also Mastercrafted, which is pretty decent, the little blind action going there. His Artificer armor is called Protector. It is Artificer armor and also gives him Feel No Pain of a 6-up. He also carries the Sword of Secrets, which is Strength plus 2, AP 3, it's melee, obviously, and Mastercrafted. But the big item he carries is the Lion Helm, which gives him and the unit he is with a 4-up invulnerable save. And that's pretty huge if you ally him to a big blob squad of guardsmen, and 50 guardsmen all have a 4-up invulnerable save. It looks kind of nice. Azrael also allows you to take Deathwing Terminators and Ravenwing attack squads as troops, which makes sense as he is the Chapter Master. The next character is Ezekiel, and he is the Grand Master of Librarians. He's level 3, so, and he also has the Warlord trait, the Hunt. He has Artificer armor, a Mastercrafted bolt pistol, frag and crack grenades, a Psychic hood. He also has Inner Circle rule. He also always knows a power called Mind Worm, and it is range 12, strength 4, AP 2. It's assault D3, ignores cover, and has Sap Will. And Sap Will is, for each unsaved wound a model suffers from Mind Worm, that model's weapon skill, ballistic skill, initiative, and leadership is reduced by 3 to a minimum of 1 for the remainder of the game. So, interesting power. He can also generate 2 other powers from Divination, Pyromancy, Telepathy, or Telekinesis. The relics he carries is the Book of Salvation, which all friendly Dark Angel units within 6 inches of him add 1 to their weapon skill, so not bad. And then he also carries Traitor's Bane, which is a 2-handed Mastercrafted Force Sword, so AP 3, Strength as user. Not a great trade-off for losing an attack to reroll a miss, but it does kind of equal the same, other than he can just take prescience and reroll all of his hits, so that doesn't really matter too much. The next character is Asmodein. Of course, alphabetically, he would technically be the first. He is the High Interrogator Chaplain, so he's the boss of chaplains. Weapon skill, ballistic skill 5, strength toughness 4, 3 wounds, 5 initiative, 3 attacks, leadership 10, 3-up save. So he has power armor, Crozius Arcanum, frag and crack grenades, Rosarius. He's also supposed to have a bolt pistol. His model does have it, and I believe it's in the FAQ. He also has the Warlord trait of the Hunt. He also has the Fear independent character, Inner Circle, and Zealot special rules. So Zealot gives him, of course, Hatred and Fearless. And his chapter relic is the Blades of Reason, which is this weird little thing he carries that is Strength as User, no AP. It's a melee weapon, it's a specialist weapon, and it causes instant death. So, unfortunately, with a strength of 4, the big monsters are really difficult to hurt, and they get an armor save. He's not going to be instant deathing a whole lot of things, I think. The next guy is Belial. And Belial, I think, is probably the most common Dark Angel special character you'll see, as a lot of Dark Angel armies are Deathwing, although Raven Wing is pretty popular too. Belial is a company master, so weapon skill 6, ballistic skill 5, strength toughness 4, 3 wounds, 5 initiative, 3 attacks, leadership 10. He's wearing Terminator armor. He carries a Storm Bolter, Iron Halo, and he has a Teleport Homer. His Warlord trait is also the Hunt. His special rules is Deathwing Assault, Independent Character, Inner Circle, and Vengeful Strike. Now, the Deathwing Assault and Vengeful Strike I'll talk about a little bit more when I talk about the Deathwing unit. It makes sense that he'd have them too. He also has the Marked for Retribution rule. Belial's shooting attacks are precision shots onto hit rolls of 5 up. Not the best rule as it's only a Storm Bolter, but it's still not bad. He also has Tactical Precision. Belial and any unit composed entirely of models with the Inner Circle special rule that he has joined do not scatter when arriving by Deep Strike. And one of the things in the Dark Angel Armory is if you give a character like a generic librarian or interrogator chaplain, if you give them Terminator armor, they do gain the Inner Circle rule, I believe. No, that's backwards. The models that can take Terminator armor already have the Inner Circle rule, and by taking the Terminator armor, they gain the Deathwing Assault and Vengeful Strike special rules. I think this wording is in there so that you don't put, Battle Brothers Space Marines in this unit to teleport and them not scatter. Not that I see that as incredibly important. The chapter relic that Belial carries is the Sword of Silence, which is Strength as User, AP 3, Melee, Fleshbane, and Mastercrafted. So it's a power sword that wounds on 2s. He can alternatively trade his Stormbolter and Fancy Sword for a pair of Lightning Claws or a Thunder Hammer and a Storm Shield for free. I personally like the Thunder Hammer and Storm Shield. He's not an Eternal Warrior. That extra point for an invulnerable save can really make a difference down the line. And the last of the special characters is Samael, the Grandmaster of the Raven Wing. He's also a company captain, so weapon skill 6 plus skill 5, strength 4, toughness 5, because he's actually a jet bike, 3 wounds, 5 initiative, 3 attacks, leadership 10, 3 up save. He has a jet bike, power armor, a bolt pistol, frag and crack grenades, teleport armor. His Warlord trait is the rapid maneuver, so at least there's one character that doesn't have the Hunt. He also has the Hit and Run, Independent Character, Inner Circle, Scouts, and Skilled Riders special rules, which is pretty decent. Then you can choose to upgrade him to be riding his land speeder called Sableclaw. In Sableclaw, he becomes a vehicle, a fast skimmer. It has a twin-linked assault cannon and a twin-linked heavy bolter. It can deep strike, and it is ballistic skill 5, front and side armor of 14, and a rear armor of 10, but it only has 2 hull points. In the old Dark Angels Ravenwing battle force, you would see people using the land speeder in there as Samael, so they could have a really quick and easy starting force for Dark Angels. I prefer the jet bike, as it is pretty awesome. It does have a twin-linked Stormbolter as well as a plasma cannon, so you can choose to fire one of those. It's pretty awesome. Now, his chapter relics are the Adamantine Mantle, which gives him the Eternal Warrior special role. He is the only Eternal Warrior in the book, in fact. He also has the thing, well, the bike is called Corvex, and that just tells you it has the plasma cannon, the twin link Stormbolter. He also has the Night Halo, which gives him a 4-up invulnerable save. But if he's in the Land Speeder gets a 4-up invulnerable save as well, and that's pretty decent. And he also carries the Raven Sword, which is Strength as User, AP2, Melee, and Mastercrafted. So he has a pretty hard-hitting sword, and he didn't used to have the independent character rule, so now that he does, he can join units of Ravenwing Black Knights or attack squads, because it used to be really easy just to pick him out and kill him. So now we'll move on to the generic characters, starting with the Company Master. Now, this guy has the same stat line as Belial, and it's your generic Space Marine captain. He can trade his equipment for Terminator armor, which isn't that impressive, as the Terminator weapons are just combi weapons. But he can take a Storm Shield, the Perfidious Relic of the Unforgiven. He can upgrade to Artificer armor, take melee weapons, ranged weapons, chapter relics. He's your basic all-around, this is your guy. He has the Inner Circle rule. He has Bolt Pistol and Chainsword, Frag Crack Grenades, and Iron Halo. He's only 90 points, but with all the options that the special characters give you, especially with how it affects your list, probably not high on your priorities. The next is the Interrogator Chaplain. He's just a buffed up Chaplain. Bliss skill 5, whereas normal ones are only 4. He has 3 wounds. He's also Inner Circle and can take Terminator armor. So combined with his Zealot rule, you can charge in and get rerolls for your melee weapons like your Power Fists and Lightning Claws and fancy things like that. He comes in at 110 points, but I think it's worth it just for the improved profile, plus the ability to take Terminator armor. As the next one, your generic Chaplain is only 90 points, but has 1 less wound than the Captain, and not nearly the number of options. I really don't see why you would take a generic Chaplain over a Captain at all. Usually in a Space Marine army, the fact that they're fearless is something to consider, even though they're really just weapon skill 5 sergeants with an extra wound. With Dark Angels, though, the Company Masters have the Inner Circle rule, which makes them fearless, so it's kind of strange. And then next is the Librarian. Now, in the Space Marine Codex, Librarians were changed to this profile, which is the same as a Chaplain. However, they're 65 points, and for 35 more points, you can make them level 2. So 100-point level 2 Psychers is pretty good. Librarians also have the Inner Circle rule, so they come fearless. And unlike generic Marines, they have access to Divination. So they're a pretty good support character. Plus, they also have access to Terminator armor. Then we have the Tech Marine. Tech Marines don't take up an HQ choice. You can just take one for every other one other than other Tech Marines or command squads. And they're only 50 points, and the thing I like about them is that they can take special issue war gear, including the power field. So, and they are independent characters. They can just join a little unit of Devastators and give them all a 4-up invulnerable save. Then you also have Servitors. For every Tech Marine, you can have a unit of Servitors. They're the same as every other Servitor. There's no reason to take them. You can have like cool little Devastator squads, I guess, because up to 2 of them could have a heavy weapon. And here, 2 of them could have plasma cannons, which is only 60 points, but for only Bliss skill 3 and a 4-up armor save, just doesn't seem like it's worthwhile. Now lastly, we have the 3 command squads. You have your Power Armor Command Squad, the Deathwing Terminator Command Squad, and the Ravenwing Command Squad. All the standard bearers in this have the option to take special standards, including the Sacred Standards, and the Command Squad is really no different than any other Space Marine one. It is a little high-pointed. And more so if you give them the chapter banner or one of the sacred standards, as they are pretty pricey. And in the book, it lists the Ravenwing Command Squad as only being 3 guys. This was FAQ'd, so you can take additional Black Knights, but as it's listed in the book, it would just be 3 guys. And they're not terribly pointed at all. They're actually pretty reasonable. And as battle standards are the thing for Dark Angels, they do have a number of them. The chapter banners, like most chapter banners, units within 12 get to reroll failed morale and pinning tests, and all Dark Angels in the same unit as the banner have +1 attack. Pretty much all chapter banners do that. Company standards just give you the reroll morale tests and pinning tests within 12. Revered standards, again, are the 12-inch reroll, and friendly units from Codex Dark Angels within 6 inches gain the Crusader special rule, which helps with sweeping advance. Not particularly helpful if you're going to be running Deathwing. Then you have the Ravenwing Company banner, which they automatically pass their hit and run, and they get to roll an extra dice when determining their hit and run move. And the Deathwing Company banner is all friendly models with the inner circle rule within 6 inches of the model bearing the banner gain +1 attack. Not particularly awesome in and of itself, but the real thing is the standard bearers let you take the sacred standards. The first of which being the Standard of Retribution. And this one, within 12 inches, you gain your rerolls to morale and pinning, and you also have the counterattack special roll. Not the greatest, but it's also, I believe, the cheapest one. Next is the Standard of Fortitude. Within 12 inches, you get your reroll and Feel No Pain. It is pricey, but it's a 12-inch Feel No Pain. It's pretty powerful, actually. But again, it is a lot of points. But the one that everybody uses, the one that people talk about, is the Standard of Devastation. And Codex Dark Angel units within 12 of this standard get their reroll. And then Codex Dark Angel units within 6 inches of the standard treat their bolt guns as salvo 2-4 weapons. So pretty common to see that, especially from the Ravenwing armies, because they all come with bolt guns that are relentless because they're on bikes, so you're always getting that salvo. You get a lot of shots. But you can put in a Land Raider to extend the range a little bit, take it on a Deathwing squad so that they're a little more resilient. It doesn't benefit the Deathwing themselves, but it's still pretty good. So that's a look at the HQs and command squads for the Dark Angels. Next we'll be going on to the elites and troops. And again, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, just hit us up at Leadership 11, and we'll see you on tomorrow's episode.